Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Island Sportscast. And today marks the conclusion of the 2020 NFL Draft. And in the first round, there was a bunch of surprises, and I'm going to start it off with the Raiders taking Henry Ruggs, a wide receiver out of Alabama, with the 12th pick. I mean, Henry Ruggs, obviously the fastest wide receiver in the class, dropped with a 4.29, and he probably has the best hands. I don't think I've seen him drop a pass, but I've seen Jerry Judy drop passes. But still being the first wide receiver taken off the board above CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Judy, I think that was a very Mike Mayock thing to do, but that was still a big surprise.
I think he should have been the third wide receiver off the board. And Jerry Judy, CD Lamb got taken pretty late in the draft. I feel like, especially CD Lamb, I thought CD Lamb was my top pick or top receiver to get taken off the board. And him going to Dallas adds another weapon to Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Gallup, and oh boy,
Tony Pollard,
Tony Pollock, can't forget about him. But
Amari Cooper.
Blake Jarwin.
Amari Cooper's
Yeah,
still there. Yeah, they have
team's
weapons.
offensive stacks, yeah. But I mean, they need a quarterback to throw to them, so we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, I feel like this is another John Ross scenario where they
Ooh.
just thought speed is everything. It's really not.
Yeah,
This was-
I feel
Speed isn't
the
always the most
Raiders-
important stat.
Yeah,
Unless
I feel
you're
the
playing
Raiders are
Madden.
tired. Yeah, I feel
If
like
you're
the
playing
Raiders are
Madden-
tired
Yeah,
of seeing Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman just run over them. So they're like, you know what? We're going to get our own speedster. Even though not the best wide receiver in the class, I've seen him at third. I personally have him at third. I can see him going. I can see him being the fourth best receiver behind Justice Jeffries before the draft. But yeah, and then Jerry Judy at 15 was great pick for the Broncos, but that wasn't really a surprise. I think that's who I expected them to take.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I
but
think that
taking
the
Jalen
Broncos.
Rieger before that,
Take
before
before
Justin
Justin
yeah.
Jeffries.
that's a
That
lot.
was, I mean, out of TCU, the guy's absolute stud. He's real fast, but like Justin Jeffries is more polished receiver, and he's shown that he's gonna probably be the better pro. I think that was a mistake.
Justin Jefferson.
Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson, yeah.
Okay.
We're talking
okay.
about
Yeah. Okay.
and then
All right.
Giants taking Andrew Thomas over
Okay.
Jedrick Wills.
All right.
Yeah, Jedrick Wills is really the only other one I was considering at this point because he's just from Alabama. So I mean, but
Yeah,
Andrew
I-
Thomas. Okay, go Joe.
No, you can keep going.
I'm
Do
done.
you have anything else to say? All right. I looked into this pick. Like, I thought they were going to take Isaiah Simmons because, like, value at that pick would have been the better choice. But obviously, you want to protect your quarterback. Nate Solder is definitely on the decline. And you need Saquon Barkley and the running game to get going if they want to succeed on offense. But I feel like the reason they took Andrew Thomas is because out of all the tackles, he is the most NFL ready, but he doesn't have as much upside as the rest of the tackles. Also, out of the top four tackles, he has the longest wingspan out of all those, like, top four. And just going back to the Giants and the reason that they picked him, Joe Judge, this is a quote from Joe Judge. He goes, he plays big in big games, which is true. He started as a freshman. He made to the college national championship game, and he played well. I feel like you couldn't really go wrong with any of the tackles in the draft. I just feel like we could have took Jedrick Willis before him, but I'm fine with the pick, and I'm not complaining. And I feel like he will take over Nate Solder's spot.
Yeah, I think that the Giants didn't go wrong with the offensive tackle. I think that even though I feel like they should have taken Isaiah Simmons, I think the right thing to do was to take the offensive tackle, albeit it was Andrew Thomas. I think, like you said, he's the most NFL ready, which is what they need right now to succeed. I think that it was a good pick for them. A little surprising that he was that early, though.
I mean, the Giants, in the past 3 years, they've won 12 games and haven't made the playoffs since 2015. And I mean, yeah, they needed an offensive tackle, but I was just surprised they didn't take Isaiah Simmons because a linebacker slash safety that runs a 4.39 who doesn't miss tackles. I feel like that's like a can't miss prospect, and I feel like the Giants might regret that in the future, even if Andrew Thomas turns out as well as he is.
I feel like they made up for that with the steal of the draft. My steal of the draft, even though I'm a Giants fan, Xavier McKinney, who was projected first round draft pick, and then he's also the top safety in the draft class. And I feel like he could not only play safety, he could play some nickel, he could play some slot. You could put him in multiple positions. And his 40 time was not ideal, but I feel like his tape speaks for itself. And it could be another Landon Collins situation. Landon Collins also got drafted in the second round. And if he resembles that, put that with Jabril Peppers, I feel like that safety duo should do fine. And you could mix in your blitzes whenever you want. And I feel like it was a solid pick. And David Gettleman did not fuck this draft up.
Yeah, if there's one thing David Gettleman does good is draft. So
yeah,
I'm kind of happy with it.
I mean, your safety duo, it sucks that it's never going to be the best safety duo in New York. But back to the first round, the Packers, that's the first and
biggest
second
surprise
round, the Packers
of the draft.
taking Jordan Love with the first pick and then coming back around in the second round and taking A.J. Dillon, running back out of Boston.
Two totally not needs on their team.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably their two best positions are running back Aaron Jones and quarterback Aaron Rodgers. And they went 13-3. The window for Rodgers winning is still there. And drafting his replacement and then another running back just doesn't make sense. In the draft and all, the only other offensive players they took was a tackle and a tight end in the third round. They didn't take a wide receiver, which is surprising, which is one of their bigger needs.
Yeah.
And I feel like they probably had the worst draft. And taking Jordan Love in the first round was a big surprise there.
Just piggybacking off that, they traded up for that pick. They traded up to draft Jordan Love, which I don't think people were going to draft him that early. As you can see, quarterbacks were taken very late in the draft. Jordan Love, he definitely was a first round talent compared to Jacob Fromm and Eason, but I still feel like it's way too early to take him at a spot, especially trading up for that, where they already have a set quarterback. And I feel like they could have looked into that in next year's draft. Even though I don't think they want Jordan Love to be their future quarterback, but I don't think he will be.
Yeah, I think that was a big reach for them. I think that they might have been able to they probably could have been able to take him at 30 if they really wanted him, because I don't think any other team was going to take him that early. I think they also could have traded up in the second round if they really wanted him, but I don't think that this was the right time to draft a quarterback for them.
If you look at the teams that they jumped to go from 30 to 26, the Seahawks, who have Russell Wilson in his prime, the Ravens, obviously Lamar Jackson, the Titans, Jefferson and Ryan Tannehill, and the Dolphins at 26, who had already taken 2 in that draft. So unless they were scared of a team like the Saints or the Patriots trading up, but the Saints and the Patriots had just made their picks and don't have much draft capital to trade up to the first round.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they wasted a bunch of picks to trade up to take a quarterback way too early.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to be paying him a first round salary just to sit on the bench for a few years. It seems a little ridiculous.
So draft winners and losers. All right, Chada, start us off. Who's your draft team's biggest winner?
Draft team biggest winner. I think the Vikings definitely improved for sure. Getting Justin Jefferson, that definitely helped. Yeah. The tackle they drafted though, that was definitely a question mark. Ezra Cleveland, but they definitely improved their team since they got rid of Stephon Diggs.
I think
the Vikings had
a
lot of picks. They had 3, 6, 5, 7, and then a bunch of 4th and 5th. So obviously their team's going to improve a lot with that many picks, especially taking Justin Jefferson and then Jeff Gladney, a quarterback at a TCU with their first 2 picks. So they definitely addressed their positions of needs, and with that many picks, they're bound to hit on at least 2 of the late ones.
Yeah, I think the Vikings definitely improved a lot with this draft. My personal best draft was the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they hit on a lot of these picks. Their first pick, Patrick Queen, absolute stud from LSU, great linebacker. And then they increased their run game with J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State, also one of the best running backs in the draft. And my personal steal of the draft, in the 6th round, they drafted wide receiver James Proche from SMU. I think that he's going to be one of the biggest surprises at wide receiver, and I think in that Ravens offense, he's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Ravens were my team with the best draft. They filled in their team was already solid coming into the draft, and they just solidified other positions and they filled in spots that they had a chance to fix in the draft, which wasn't a lot. But I do want to go into this. I think the biggest losers in my draft, first of all, the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. This is the second year where they could have drafted a better wide receiver. And then this year they don't take Tony Jefferson. Or not Tony Jefferson, Justin Jefferson. Yeah. They do not take him. They take a smaller wide receiver. And I don't know what the thought process was into that, but I feel like if they would have got Justin Jefferson, their draft wouldn't have been as horrendous. They also drafted Jalen Hurts
with their second pick.
Yeah, which is very iffy because Carson Wentz is obviously their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to fill him in as a Taysom Hill role, which I don't see them doing. It makes sense, but he's just not the same athlete Taysom Hill is, especially like physicality-wise.
Personally, what I think that the Eagles are gonna do with Jalen Hurts is I think that they're gonna groom him and develop him a little bit, and they're not gonna make him their quarterback of the future because they just paid Carson Wentz a lot of money to be their starter for the foreseeable future. I think that they're gonna keep developing him, and if a quarterback really needs a team, if a team really needs a quarterback, they're probably gonna go and trade for Jalen Hurts because I feel like that's just the best option.
Yeah, the Eagles definitely made some questionable picks, but the team that I feel had the best draft is the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they had a lot of picks too, and they started off strong, taking Tua Tagovailoa out of Alabama, who I feel is going to end up being the best quarterback in this draft. And then with their next pick, they got the 5th best tackle off the board, Austin Jackson. And so not only did they get their quarterback for the future, they also got a tackle to defend him. Yeah, and then throughout their next picks, they just got like cornerback, offensive line, D-line, all the positions of need. I feel like with all their picks that they had probably the best draft.
I just also want to talk about the jokes of the draft. The Chicago Bears drafted a tight end. They have the most tight end spots on their roster.
They drafted their 11th tight end.
Is it 10th or 11th?
11.
All right. Well, I'm seeing 10th, but if it is 11th,
okay.
It's 10. But the thing is, I don't think you need that many tight ends, even in
none of them are
blocking
good
schemes.
anyway. So
none of them are good. Even if you use them as blocking tight ends and you're just trying to pound the rock, you still don't need 10 on your roster. Like, you would be fine having 4 if you really wanted to do that. But 10 is way too much, and it just wasn't a need. They could have fixed so many other things in the draft, but they decided to go with tight end.
Yeah, and the Raiders, too. I was with their pretty sure 3 of their first 4 picks, they drafted wide receivers. And, I mean, yeah, they need wide receivers. They really only have Terrell Williams, and even him, he's not special. But the team definitely has bigger needs than wide receiver, and taking through their first 4 picks is kind of questionable. I don't know.
Also, I want to go into – was anybody going to say anything?
Nah.
All right. I was going to go into the first running back off the board was from LSU, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is not a big running back. He is 5'6". He gives you that Darren Sproles kind of vibe. But for the Chiefs, I like this pick, okay? you may not have seen this coming. You may have thought that one of the other top running backs in the draft would have been taken, especially J.K. Dobbins. You could have took J.K. Dobbins there. You could have took DeAndre Swift there. But I feel like he's going to thrive in that Chiefs up-tempo offense because he is a receiving back. And he was injury-prone for most of the LSU year. So I feel like he is going to be my sleeper, actually, for fantasy next year. I feel like him and Damian Williams are going to be a great backfield for Patrick Mahomes. And I feel like that duo, that mix, that up-tempo offense, I feel like is a great pick for them at that, even though it's a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting them to take DeAndre Swift. I feel like he's the better back. But I feel like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a great compliment to Damian Williams because Damian Williams is more of a running back, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is more of a pass-catching back. And that fit with Patrick Mahomes is going to be ridiculous because that man throws the ball on the money every single time. So having a running back like him out of the backfield is a great addition, and the rich just get richer.
Yeah, there's not many needs that the Kansas City Chiefs have, so they just thought they'd add whoever they thought was the most skilled player, I guess, and that's who they thought it was.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs did whatever they could to just improve, and they couldn't really improve that much. They were already one of the best rosters in the entire league.
And the Patriots, out of no surprise to me, did not draft a quarterback in this draft. I feel like they're going to wait next year. They're not tanking per se because Belichick's not going to tank, but they're going to get either like pick between 10 to 15, and they have so much draft capital with over 10 picks in the next draft that they're going to trade up and draft a quarterback. But yeah, I just feel like it wasn't that big of a surprise.
Yeah, I don't think Jarrett Stidham is the answer for the Patriots, so they're definitely searching for a quarterback.
Yeah. But a big surprise, actually, for me was the Lions drafting DeAndre Swift in the second round. The Lions have Kerryon Johnson, who took last year in the third round. Obviously, he was injured throughout the year, and he might not be the running back for the future. But a team like the Lions, who has needs basically everywhere on their roster, I feel like running back was not a position they needed to worry about. They could have drafted a linebacker or offensive defensive line, who I feel like would have been a lot more beneficial for them.
Yeah, I think that the Lions definitely needed to improve on their defense a lot more. They were getting torn to shreds over there. I think that running back is very important, but not that important when you're trying to rebuild, like they obviously are. They do have a good quarterback, so that wasn't a need. So like I feel like a wide receiver possibly, or like anything else. Offensive line definitely, defensive line, something to impact the game more than just a running back.
I also feel like I just want to get into this. This is probably one of the deepest wide receiver draft classes in recent years. Like off the board, like there was so many receivers taken, and like all of them were definitely like good receivers taken off the board, even if it was like round 3 or 4. Like it was still solid picks all around.
Even going into today's draft, day 3, there is still a lot of great receivers available. And day 2 too, like T. Higgins going in the second round, Pittman, Mims, ridiculous, amazing wide receiver draft. And one of the wide receivers, Joe, that you said was your steal of the draft, CeeDee Lamb to the Cowboys. I want to talk about that for a second.
Okay.
I know you love that pick, but I don't like that pick. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is most people's number 1 or number 2 wide receiver in this class. And don't get me wrong, the guy's an absolute beast. But the Cowboys have Amari Cooper. They have Zeke Elliott. They have Dallas Goedert, not Dallas Goedert, Blake Jarwin and Michael Gallup. So for them to take a wide receiver with their first-round pick over a cornerback or a linebacker after they lost Byron Jones, and their defense already wasn't that great, and they're going to have to start cutting people if they want to pay Dak Prescott that much, I just feel like that was not the pick, even though he was probably the best available player at the time.
I only feel like that it was a good pick. That's because I feel like it was just a steal at the moment. He was the top rated wide receiver on my board, and they got to take him that late. Also, anything you could do to make Dak Prescott look like a good quarterback helps him a lot because
They shouldn't pay him.
they
Hot
should
take.
not pay him. He is
Definitely
not
their quarterback
the
next
top
year.
quarterback in the league. He is not a top quarterback in any stretches of the means. And I
I
just feel
believe he
like,
is.
okay,
Yeah,
Chado, that's a
you
hot
pay him
take.
$33 million?
I definitely think Dak Prescott's a top 10 quarterback. But
$33 million a year?
he definitely. I don't know how to explain it, but he should not be getting a top tier contract. But I don't think he's like terrible, as Joe was saying.
Think he could get what
think-
Ryan Tannehill got?
I just
I
think
mean,
Dak
he's
Prescott's
definitely better than Ryan
overrated.
Tannehill.
He is. I agree with that. I just
That
believe
was
Dak.
such an overpayment. It's unreal.
I feel like Dak Prescott is just a very overrated quarterback, and they hype him up way too much.
Well, yeah, because he's America's team, but he's
They
definitely
have like the
above
best
average.
roster. With the best O line, and then Zeke, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. I feel like can make almost any quarterback in the league look great. Paying $33 million is ridiculous, even for Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I feel like if you put almost any quarterback behind that offensive line with those weapons, I think they'll succeed, even if they overthrow or make just bad throws in general. Like, I feel like that offensive line gives you so much time in the pocket to make the throws that he can make that it just makes him look a lot better.
Mm-hmm. And then another team that I don't think many people are talking about that had a good draft was the Browns.
The
I
Browns
mean,
had a very
yeah,
solid
the Browns only had 6 picks, but taking Jedrick Wills to solidify that offensive line after signing a tackle and free agent, it's going to do wonders for Baker Mayfield and the rest of the team. And then with their second pick, they got Grant Delpit from LSU, the safety. I
Top 3
wouldn't have been
safety in the
surprised if
draft.
he would have went in the first round. Yeah, this guy is really good out of LSU. And then their next 2 picks, they took 2 linebackers to help out the defense and get more depth. I feel like this is really going to help their team. And I know it's been said a lot, but watch out for the Browns in 2020.
Yeah, I feel like last year, but even before the season started, we were already crowning them Super Bowl champs because they were so talented. Now they've just added some more talent to an insanely talented roster. So
I definitely feel like that was on part. Like they did awful because of the coaching staff. I feel like, especially Freddie Hitchens or Kitchens, whatever his last name is, did not help, and he should have stayed as a position coach. And that's what happened this offseason when he came to the Giants as a tight end coach. But that's a different story. But I feel like now they're going to have Baker Mayfield. You still have so many weapons on that team that you just can't see them being as terrible as they were last year. I feel like they're going to be in the playoff picture, or at least they should be, with just the amount of talent they have on that team, both on the offensive, defensive side. Like, if you put this talent anywhere else on any other teams, they're going to make the playoffs.
Sucks that they're in the NFC North because obviously the Ravens are probably the best team in the league. And
They're definitely
the
wild card
Steelers,
spot.
yeah, the Steelers are nothing to slouch at, and the Bengals got a lot better after this draft. So that hurts them a lot, but they should definitely get 9 to 10 wins.
Yeah, I think the Browns definitely did what they could to help Baker Mayfield. I think improving that offensive line was their biggest priority. And just like the fact that they have all that talent on their roster, it's very, very scary to have in the league. But like you said, Shane, like being in the AFC North, it's just very hard to compete with the Ravens right now.
Yeah. I want to
And
bring
another
up
thing. Oh,
the New York Jets draft.
oh, okay.
I don't know how other
Unbiased
people
at
feel
all.
about the draft, but
We're getting
yeah, I
into
feel
that.
they had a very good draft. Yeah, taking a tackle over a wide receiver with the first pick, I think was the smart move, the better move for the team. And then in the second round, trading back in the second round and still getting Denzel Mims was amazing.
I think that Denzel Mims was the 5th best wide receiver. I think he fell because of concerns about his drops, which he didn't even have that many drops, and he also had a broken hand like for half the year. So I'm very surprised that he fell to us, and very happy that he did. I think
Yeah, and then
another very good pick for them was in the 5th round, Bryce Hall cornerback who had third-round value, some maybe even second-round value, also fell because of injury concerns. But I think he's one of the most talented cornerbacks in the entire draft, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, a lot of these players the Jets took are like big hit or miss. Not much like safe picks, like someone say Andrew Thomas or one of the other wide receivers. And then obviously their best pick they made Brandon Mann out of Texas A&M. The guy, the punter, amazing, can turn the field like no one else. That's going to be the real reason why they win the 2021 Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is funny. Jokesters out here. But also, I know we talked about it, but I want to backtrack to how good the decision is that the Giants drafted a tackle instead of Isaiah Simmons. Even though I wanted Isaiah Simmons, having to face Chase Young, okay? Chase Young on the Redskins, who is probably one of the best pass rushers in recent years. He's going to be better than Joey Bosa. He's going to be better than Nick Bosa. I think he is the best pass rusher that's come out of Ohio State. This man is scary, okay? I feel like if the Giants didn't draft O-line and didn't help that, Daniel Jones would have a field day getting sacked by Chase Young, fumbling the ball way too many times because Nate Solder can definitely not block that man.
Not even just Chase Young. I mean, the Redskins have one of the better defensive lines in the league. And then the Cowboys got DeMarcus Lawrence. The Eagles have Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and a bunch of other people. It's probably one of the best like front seven lines in the league. So yeah, it was a good pick, but I still would have won Isaiah Simmons.
I mean, like if we look at the rest of the 2020 opponents for the Giants, they have the Cardinals, who have some good defensive players. The
They have Isaiah
49ers.
Simmons.
Yeah, they have Isaiah Simmons, who's gonna
Chandler Jones.
sack him. Chandler Jones, yeah. The 49ers got Nick Bosa over there. Cleveland Browns have one of the scariest defensive lines.
Miles
Uh,
Garrett.
Pittsburgh Steelers, T.J. Watt over there. He's gonna sack you a couple times. Who else? Seahawks, they have some pretty good pass rushers. The Ravens, they just got Calais Campbell.
Ridiculous. That team is
The
ridiculous.
Bengals have Carlos Dunlap and Geno Atkins. Like, you guys are facing some very scary defensive lines. And I think that offensive line was definitely your best go.
It's gonna help the Giants get it's another top 5 pick next year. I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
just
schedule is definitely
Yeah.
on the harder side.
Just looking into stats with the Giants O-line, they gave up the most pass rushes or pressure, most quarterback pressures in the league at like 97, I think, which is a ridiculous amount, especially for a rookie quarterback. Like that's definitely not helping him develop. I mean, it could help him develop having that like pocket presence, but like still not having him, giving him enough time in the pocket to make his good throws, his open throws, and having his reads is not helping. And I feel like they needed to boost this offensive line because, like, leading the league in in quarterback pressures is not a good stat you want to lead the league in.
Yeah. And then another team I feel like I had a bad draft, surprisingly, was the Patriots. Usually the Patriots don't do many things bad besides getting caught cheating. But they traded out their first round pick, which I think that's a good move. They need to get more draft capital. But they didn't draft any wide receivers, and they took 2 tight ends with their back-to-back picks. Like, I like that they got a linebacker to replace Kyle Van Noy, but I feel like I would have seen them drafting maybe a wide receiver or an offensive lineman before the 6th round.
Also, they used their first pick on a safety coming out of a D2 college.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unless it's Bill Belichick using his, like, magic and, like, using his sources that no one else knows about, and these guys are all steals. Like, I'm not going to say that it's a bust of a draft because it's Bill Belichick and he transforms any player into this. Like, turns them into great players in their system. I feel like we're just going to have to wait till the season starts.
I think
Hopefully it starts on time.
yeah, if it starts on time. I think that the Patriots definitely made some very questionable choices. I think they definitely reached on a lot of players, but like you said, Bill Belichick is just the man over there. He knows what he knows, and no one else knows that he knows what he knows. I just wanted to bring up one other interesting draft fact from this year. The Carolina Panthers drafted all defensive players with all 7 of their draft picks. The first time any team has ever done that in history. I just think
Makes
that
sense.
that's very huge. I think in the fact that they're redoing their entire team, they only added a few things on offense. They added Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson to that offensive weapon group. They re-signed Christian McCaffrey, but their offensive line, I think it took a hit. They traded for an older player. They lost another player they lost like 2 of their guards and whatever, but that offensive line was not good. And that's one of their biggest needs, and they just didn't improve on it at all. And I
Yeah,
think that
they
that was
got
very
some.
questionable.
They got some good players though. Derek Brown out of Auburn is an amazing run stopper, and you always need to stop the run. And then they took Yedgar Gross Matos. I can't pronounce his name, but he was one of the best edge rushers, I think, out of Penn State. So they got some great players, but yeah, I definitely would have expected them to take a tackle.
I feel like they wanted to focus on stopping the run game this season because their run game stoppage last year was horrendous. Especially losing Luke Kuechly, losing their cornerback James Bradbury's gone too, and then just like rebuilding that defense has to be a priority. I feel like has to be a priority over the offense because I feel like Christian McCaffrey did his huge load carrying that offense. Even though their offensive line isn't the best, I feel like Christian McCaffrey is way too hard to stop, even without an offensive line.
And they
He's
didn't take a
dangerous.
linebacker to replace Kuechly.
They did not. I think they were just going for value at each pick instead of taking team needs.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't take Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I think the fact that they passed on Isaiah Simmons says a lot about what they really wanted, because Isaiah Simmons being one of the best prospects in this entire draft, falling all the way to number 8 to the Cardinals, I think just said that
Deal.
they went for
That was
need
true.
rather than prospect.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, the Cardinals are looking good next season,
Yeah,
especially
I
with
mean
the
the
addition of
defense.
DeAndre Hopkins, and then now
Stop.
your
Gonna do
defense is
so.
looking good.
Defense is still kind of trash. I mean, it really helps they got Isaiah Simmons, and
You
yeah,
still have
but
Chandler Jones. You still have
you still have some players, but
Pat
that
Pete.
defense is still going to be that defense is still going to be awful. The offense, I think that offense could be a top 10 offense. Kyler Murray, Larry Fitzgerald. They drafted the tackle Josh Jones out of Houston in the 3rd round, which was ridiculous. Some people had him as a first-round pick, had a first-round grade on him, and they got him in the 3rd round. That's definitely going to help. Obviously, the DeAndre Hopkins trade and then Christian Kirk, and they still have Kenyon Drake. So that offense is going to flourish, going to be amazing. But that defense is still one of the worst ones in the league. But it definitely helps with Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah, I feel like that offense is going to be so ridiculous next season because you don't know who to stop. Like, if you focus on the receivers like DeAndre Hopkins, then the run game's going to thrive, and you're allowing Kyler Murray to run away. And then if you focus on Kyler Murray, he has the accuracy to throw downfield and make these accurate passes. Like, you don't know what they're going to come out with each week because they have so many options on the offensive side of the ball.
Right,
I
so
think the
to finish
Cardinals are
this off,
definitely
you
someone to
go.
watch. I just have one more thing to say after that. I think one more surprising pick was the beginning of the 2nd round. The Cincinnati Bengals took T. Higgins in an already crowded wide receiver room. They have A.J. Green, Tyler Boyd, John Ross. They have another guy who's also pretty good.
Golden Tate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Auden Tate. That's who I was thinking of. They have some pretty good wide receivers as it is, and the fact that they took T. Higgins, which was one of the best wide receivers in that class, I think that just might have something to do with they might trade AJ Green, even though they just tagged him. I think that it could definitely mean a lot of things for them, but I just think it was very surprising for them to take him that early.
Yeah, I thought that was a questionable too. So to finish this off, we're gonna all give our winners of the draft and the losers of the draft. And my biggest winner of the draft, obviously the Miami Dolphins, getting Tua. Just like it doesn't even matter who the rest of their picks were. The fact that they took Tua for their future is huge. I feel like that's just amazing. And then the Packers, I feel, are the biggest losers. With their first two picks being a quarterback and a running back, not getting any receivers, Aaron Rodgers is going to feel hurt. He's going to feel betrayed. Not only do they draft his replacement, they didn't draft anyone to help him, not even the seventh round receiver.
I mean, we definitely like covered this a little bit, but like my best draft has to go to the Ravens, just filling in all the holes that needed to get filled, which wasn't a lot. And then my losers of the draft, I feel like, is the Philadelphia Eagles at that point. Like drafting wide receiver that I feel like was taking a little too high. Like, yes, he's a good wide receiver, but you still have Justin Jefferson on the board, and it's like, why?
Yeah, I think that the Ravens definitely had, in my opinion, the best draft, and I think that the worst draft was probably either the Eagles or Shane. Who did you say?
Packers.
The Packers. Yeah, the Eagles and the Packers definitely did not have very strong drafts. I think that they definitely improved on things that they didn't need to improve on, and just made very questionable picks.
Yeah, I feel like the Vikings were the winners for me because they got rid of Diggs and just replaced him with Justin Jefferson. They also got rid of Xavier Rhodes as the cornerback, and they just replaced him with their second round pick. Well, actually, first. So, yeah, and my losers would definitely be the Packers. I mean, they just drafted nothing they needed in the high rounds. It was just unbelievable what they did.
All right. Are we done talking about the draft? I kind of want to go into trades and signings post draft. All right,
Benjamin
let's talk
Victor.
about these trades, boys. Oh my, where do we want to start with anyone in
We'll
particular?
do Matt Breida to the Dolphins.
Matt Breida
I
to the
was
Dolphins.
surprised. I mean, I guess not really because the 49ers, it didn't really matter who their running back was. And they still had Kevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert. And yeah, so, I mean,
Jared
I was
McKinnon coming
shocked by
back.
it. But yeah, so
Jared
it was
McKinnon, yeah.
surprising, but I think it was a good trade for both teams. Miami needed a running back badly, and the 49ers could spare a running back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
definitely
agree
think
with
that the
that.
Dolphins were like the best spot to go. They signed Jordan Howard, but I don't think that Jordan Howard was enough to get that backfield going. They definitely needed at least another running back.
Yeah, I feel like it was a good trade for the 49ers because once Jarek McKinnon became healthy, that backfield was going to be crowded. 4 running backs, you don't need 4. And I feel like this was just a good move for the 49ers to get rid of a running back that they really don't need and to come back and get value in return for it. It was just a perfect trade.
And then obviously the 49ers doesn't really matter who they have. And then
Mhm.
the other trade they made, Trent Williams for a third and a fifth. Now it really doesn't matter what running back you have back there. The holes in that line are going to be amazing. So yeah, they definitely didn't need Burrito. And then we can talk more on Trent Williams.
It's definitely a talking point. Like, yes, they're upgrading their offense, but their defense is the main priority of that team. Their defense is the reason they went to the Super Bowl, in my opinion, over the offense.
100%.
Because their offense was not the fireworks show that the Kansas City Chiefs are, and they had to bank on their defense because it was very like run the ball, and then if Jimmy Garoppolo could make throws downfield when needed, that's basically what their offense was. It was basically run, play action. That was pretty much their offense, and it worked for them.
Yeah, I think that their defense, when they got rid of Arik Armstead, right? No, they
DeForest Buckner.
DeForest Buckner.
Yeah.
They kept Arik Armstead. I think with the addition of Javon Kinlaw from South Carolina in the draft was definitely something that they needed to do in filling that gap. They also improved on their wide receiver group by adding Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State.
He was their number one wide receiver on the board for their number one wide receiver.
And with adding a wide receiver, they also got rid of a wide receiver and giving Marquise Goodwin to the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles wide receiver group needed something. and they
I don't
got
know
it.
how big of an impact that's going to be. Guy like barely got to play in the 49ers, even when they were bad and they didn't have many wide receivers help. He still wasn't playing that much or wasn't producing. I mean, you never know. A new change of scenery. The guy is really fast, but I feel like that trade and all is really isn't going to mean much for either team.
I honestly feel like they're going for speed and speed kills because they have Deshaun Jackson back, and then mixing that with Marquise Goodwin, like that's a lot of speed on one wide receiver core.
Yeah.
Also adding Alshon Jeffrey to that mix, it's a good mix of receivers.
Yeah, and the
Jalen
guy
Hurts to throw
Rager
to.
they draft.
Yeah,
And the guy Jalen Rager is also really fast.
yeah.
Yeah, they're going the Chiefs route, trying to get all that speed that they can, and let's see if it
But they
works
don't
out
have
for them.
Mahomes.
If
They
you
don't.
think about it, there's a good chance it works. Because there's only one Tyreek Hill on the Chiefs, okay? There's
But
one.
there's a second,
And he's
McCole
speed
Harmon.
kills. Yeah, they have two, okay? So I feel like the Eagles are just trying to add as much speed as they can to the roster and just hope Carson Wentz can make these downhill throws, which he can. And
Yes.
yeah, he has a lot of weapons now, especially going for the deep ball. There's a better chance. They don't have Nelson Aguilar. Like, they don't have to worry
Yeah,
about that.
they don't have to worry about the drops. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could run so much. You could run short passes that could break out for home run plays just
Screens.
because of speed alone. Also,
There's one more trade that happened today, and it was another Colts cornerback that was traded to the Jets. This is the second Colts cornerback that they traded in the past 2 years, and the third Colts player that was traded during the draft in the past 3 years. This guy, Quincy Wilson, he was traded for a 6th-round pick. I think that with the value that we would have gotten with that 6th-round pick, I think that adding another cornerback to the cornerback room, which is the biggest need for the Jets, I think it was very important. This guy played very well in man coverage in his first 2 years in the league, but then once the Colts switched to a zone scheme, kind of struggled a little bit. And I think in Greg Williams' defense, where he runs a lot of man, he's going to succeed.
yeah, okay, I agree with that. Nothing more to it. Jets defense definitely need a little help in the corner. I did want to talk about one thing that I just found out about it. Thaddeus Moss got signed as a undrafted free agent to the
Yep.
Redskins. I feel like that's a steal. Personally, in my opinion, like just having that pedigree of having that last name Moss, and he wasn't no scrub. He wasn't a scrub in any of the means. Like
Yeah.
especially
Great
during that
championship game.
during that national championship game, he stepped up. He definitely helped Jared Burrow out, and I feel like this was a big signing for the Redskins, especially having Dwayne Haskins most likely being their quarterback of the future if he's not trash
Sadly.
next
He's so
season.
bad. So
Because,
bad.
like, in a small sample size in the games he played, he was horrendous.
The Giants picked him up 3
Don't be that
times and a
nice to
half.
him.
Okay, I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be unbiased as possible, but it was a very small sample size.
Yeah. I mean,
And
that's another.
he
It's a great
has
pick, but they
Ron,
didn't
yeah.
have a tight end.
And they have a new head coach next year in Ron Rivera, who I feel like has a chance to help Dwayne Haskins out, and I feel like Dwayne Haskins will be better next year. He won't be better than Daniel Jones. I'm telling you that right now. Okay.
You better hope he's not better than Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones has already separated himself from Dwayne Haskins enough that Dwayne Haskins is going to have to do a lot just to catch up.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel, especially upgrading the offensive line, Daniel Jones should have more time now and should have more accuracy downfield, especially having more time than what he did last year.
But now, hopefully, with a better offensive scheme now, Jason Garrett running the offensive coordinator, we could call better plays than Pat Shermer did.
Yeah.
So.
I think just one additional undrafted free agent signing that I was very sad about. My favorite player in this draft, Rodrigo Blankenship, the kicker from Georgia, Mr. Glasses himself, signed with the Indianapolis Colts. It was very sad. I really wanted him to go to the Jets because we needed a kicker very badly. But I think
Sam
that
Ficken.
I mean
Wait,
Sam
did-
Ficken's okay, but yeah, I think
Did
the Colts signing Blankenship to replace Vinatieri is pretty good for them.
Vinatieri retire?
Not yet, but he's
Okay.
He's like
going-
70, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still makes
wasn't
it
very
easy,
good.
easy.
Last year he was pretty bad actually.
He
missed
was
a
pretty
lot.
bad last year, but that's also the field goal post is skinnier. But still, he still has some. He's also a kicker, so I feel like you could kick forever at that point. There's no physical contact being made.
I mean, unless you get, like running into the kicker, that's pretty
Yeah,
pretty rough.
but but you get a flag for that. It's not gonna happen that often.
Yeah, he's not out there like Pat McAfee, hit
Yeah.
sticking some guys on return.
Oh yeah, I think. Oh, also, Jalen Hurts over. Do you think Jalen Hurts over Jacob Fromm was a good pick for the
Jacob
Eagles?
Fromm.
Jake
fell
Fromm, I do not like Jake
hard.
Fromm.
The only thing I like about Jake Fromm is he has like okay, I'm not gonna say Mamba mentality, but he has that winning mindset. He knows how to win big games. Except the national
He
championship.
didn't win the big game.
He didn't.
He
didn't.
almost won the national
Yeah.
championship. He almost beat Alabama in the playoffs. He almost did a lot of those
Okay,
things.
it is, but he didn't have as many weapons as these other teams
course.
did.
I
It was
don't
their
think he could throw
defense.
over 50 yards, if I'm being honest.
That though. He does
They
not
already
have
have
a strong
a quarterback who can do that. The Bills. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like he's just injury concern for the Bills. I was surprised that he fell that far. It was the 6th round, I think. But I definitely would have Jalen Hurts over him. I have Jacob Eason over Jalen Hurts. I thought that was a surprise. But Doug Peterson's a creative man. I feel like we're going to see a lot of Jalen Hurts. A lot more than
Yeah.
we think we're going to see. A lot of wildcat. Maybe put him at wide receiver for a play, do an end around. Maybe he'll throw it. Because he is an athletic specimen. He's also like a weightlifter. So we will see a lot of Jalen Hurts in that offense, just not as the primary quarterback.
I think you will see him a good amount, but I don't think he's going to be to the Taysom Hill level with the Saints because he's just not a physical runner. He's more of a I'll beat you with speed and my moves instead of I'm going to run you over like Taysom Hill. Because Taysom Hill plays tight end. Taysom Hill knows how to block. Taysom Hill is the
He was a quarterback in college.
He was.
he is the
Yeah.
future quarterback of the Saints.
That's a statement. That's a statement.
Jalen Hurts
That's what they
squatted
believe.
like over 550. That guy is like he's like a bodybuilder. He broke like weightlifting records at Alabama. So he's no Lamar Jackson, but
He's
I don't know if he has
he's
that
no
I'll truck
Taysom
you
Hill.
mentality. Yeah,
He's no
but I
Taysom
think
Hill.
they could use him in that spot though. He's bigger than some wide receivers are.
I think they'll definitely do like Wildcat with him and take him out, or like just option, like 3-man options, like the Baltimore Ravens ran with RG3, Mark Ingram, Lamar Jackson. Like that's dangerous. Like who are you gonna give the ball to? I think that's what they're gonna kind of run with the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't think you draft him that high just to not use him. So they're going to try to get him the ball as much as they can.
I was just gonna say, just having that athletic person in your quarterback room is pretty helpful. I think that he's capable enough to come in and help out if Carson Wentz gets hurt again, because he does get hurt a lot. He got hurt every year that they were in the playoffs, so I think that they need someone that can go and win a game for them if need be.
No more Big Dick Nick to carry him after he's injured.
Nope.
No,
That's
sir.
big. He's on the Bears now, which I don't know what they're doing. You don't got a lot of quarterback options there. All right, I did want to talk about Mr. Irrelevant with the Giants' last pick overall,
Linebacker.
Tay Crowder. He is coming out of Georgia, which Georgia is probably one of the best defensive teams in college football. Obviously, they're always up there defensively. And I think I remember one of the stats, like they allowed the least amount of points in the past like 6-7 years or something like that. It was some ridiculous stat like that. But like I feel like it was for the last pick, I feel like it was a good pick. Okay. It helped.
The last 4 out of the 5 picks the Giants made were very questionable. I think they just drafted him
Four
to be special.
linebackers.
Four linebackers. I think they just drafted him to be special teams. I
Yeah,
mean,
special teams.
we just signed 3 linebackers this season. We already have 3 on the roster. I don't know if they're going to get any playing time.
The one pick that I'm actually glad the Giants made was drafting Darnay Holmes. He's an undersized cornerback from UCLA, but his speed kills, and he knows how to tackle. I feel like it's one of those picks that's gonna. He'll definitely play like the slot because he's fast enough to cover that, and I feel like he'll start right away.
I love Julian Love, though. He's one of my favorite players on the
Love is
Giants.
good.
That's why
Yeah,
I really
Julian
didn't
Love.
want Xavier McKinney, but we couldn't pass on him. He's just too good of a player.
Predictions: Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, definitely Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's my pick.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go Joe Burrow too.
Now I can't go Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to go Joe Burrow, but he's gonna be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
I don't want to go wide receiver because they don't get very much love, to be honest.
You go Justin Herbert because I don't think Tua is starting this year.
No, definitely not.
Mekhi Beckham, I doubt it, but you never know.
Definitely CeeDee Lamb. I just
CeeDee Lamb. Okay.
I got to. You can't double him because you got Amari Cooper on the other side. So I
Joe
think
Burrow is gonna have
he'll
the
have his
best
house.
opportunity.
Okay.
Starting quarterback, he has AJ Green, John Ross, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. The team's just stacked everywhere. He's
There's
the
a lot of
starter.
options.
Like, there's no way Middleton. Yeah, he's definitely gonna get it. And then defensive rookie of the year, I'm not going Chase Young.
I'm going Chase Young. I'm full ride on the Chase Young train.
Yeah, Chase
I feel
Young.
like because he is not only strong enough to bull rush, he has the speed of a cheetah out there. His hands are so fast, his moves. Like just watching tape alone, I watched like an hour of Chase Young tape yesterday, and that man's hands are so fast.
Joe, can I say something?
Offensive tackle, yes.
If we let Washington beat us one time, we would have the second pick, and we would have picked Chase Young. So
I know, but it's fine. It's fine, you know.
yeah, we
I'm
showed
fine with
Dwayne
the
Haskins.
tackle.
What was up?
I have Isaiah Simmons as my defensive player of the year right now. I feel like that Cardinals defense is still going to be trash, but I feel like it's going to improve enough, and you're really going to see him out there. A 4.39, he'll be able to cover anyone. He's going to lead the team in picks. He'll probably have like 6 of them. He'll be one of the top in the league. He'll lead the team in tackles, and there's just going to be no other one you can pick.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Simmons is my defensive player of the year pick.
Rookie
of the year. I mean, who knows? Maybe he might be that good that he could be defensive player of the year.
No shot.
Yes, sir.
But
not first year.
I mean, it's not I don't think it would be the first time we've seen that before. Has there been a rookie of the year that was also defensive player of the year?
Nick Bosa almost did it.
Darius Leonard, was he close?
Yeah, they're all close, but no one. I don't think anyone secured the bag.
I think they were in the running for it, but they just didn't get it.
The only player in the history who has won defensive player of the year as a rookie is Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
That makes sense. He's goated. Okay.
Yeah, so it is possible, but who knows if Isaiah Simmons will be able to play up to that level.
I don't think Isaiah Simmons is on the Lawrence Taylor level.
I mean, he's a pretty freak athlete.
He is, but Lawrence Taylor is one of a kind.
Let's just hope that that the Cardinals can turn him into a Lawrence Taylor, you know.
Their team is young. I feel like definitely in the upcoming years they're going to be a playoff team and it's going to be dangerous.
Definitely.
They have a great future ahead of them. Kyler Murray and Isaiah Simmons on the same team.
Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Hopkins. It's a lot. They have a lot of options.
I think Kyler Murray's overrated. I don't like him.
I feel like
he's
overrated, but he's a good quarterback.
Love Kyler. I would have taken him. I'd take him over Dak Prescott.
I would too.
I would not.
Oh, I would.
I would take Kyler Murray over Dak Prescott.
100%. I'd take Kyler Murray over a lot of quarterbacks in this league. Probably most of them. Definitely most of them.
I think Kyler Murray is just one of those quarterbacks that he's different because he's not like your Lamar Jackson where he's a really good runner that it could occasionally throw the ball. Kyler Murray is a pass-first kind of quarterback that could also run, which is
He's
dangerous.
like Patrick Mahomes, but faster and not as
Yes.
good as a thrower. Because Mahomes, that man can run. The man can throw. He can do everything. I bet you could play wide receiver and lead the league in reception yards. But
Pat Mahomes. Wow, that's just a debate for another day about how Patrick Mahomes is going to be the greatest of all time. And I feel like that's fact. Someone could come at me, but I feel like most of you would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Like-
Patrick Mahomes has that potential.
He won MVP at the age of 25. He also won his first Super Bowl, one of the youngest Super Bowl quarterback winners in NFL
Bowl
history,
MVP.
besides Ben Roethlisberger.
They threw 50 touchdowns in a year. That's unreal.
This man,
thanks for tuning in to the second episode, and we'll see you next time.
Deuces.